What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt Dubois with Counterpunched Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Roy Jones Jr. Y'all must have forgot. Get this. Roy opens up on Daniel Triple D Dubois, and this is what he had to say. He said, could he have gotten up? Probably, but he has shown that is not the person he is. He went on to say that he doesn't show the heart of someone that deals with tough spots like that. And those are the words, the few words of Roy Jones Jr. Let's listen to what else he had to say, because he has a lot more to say, because this is Roy Jones Jr. Y'all must have forgot. So let's go ahead and look up what he has to say here. Okay, let's see.
To an absolute legend that I certainly can't wait to talk to. I know Spencer knows pretty well. The former four-weight world champion Roy Jones Jr. joins us here on Fight Night. Roy, thanks so much for your time. It's a real thrill to speak to you.
Thank you guys for having me again.
Oh, you're very welcome. I know you had a fight. Before we talk about other matters, I know you had a fighter on the bill tonight, and he's just been in, hasn't he? Tony Curtis. Talk us through what went on. He was taking on Charles Tondo, and it was an entertainment.
3 draws. That's 31 fights if you add that up. And we only on fight number 12. And at 19 years old. That's a hell of a task, and that's a great job. Only the good ones go.
And then largely has fought in Dubai. He only turned 19 recently as well. Very much pound for pound, the great at the time that you fought. And we're watching a remarkable talent in the shape of Alexander Usyk.
Good, but confidence is just not enough to beat a guy like Usyk. You gotta have some technique. You gotta have some grit. You can't lose him with a jab and think you're gonna beat him. It's not gonna work.
Roy, you was a smaller guy that went up and won the world heavyweight title, one of the only ones to do that from middleweight up to heavyweight. You know, how does someone beat Alexander Usyk? Is it the smaller guy? Is it the guy that's coming up in the weight divisions, you know, as opposed to the bigger heavyweights?
No, the big guys could beat him, just gotta have the right fight plan. None of these guys fight him with the right fight plan. And I'm not gonna tell them the right fight plan, because that's not my job to do. But you gotta have the right fight plan to fight Usyk. If you don't have the right fight plan, he's gonna destroy you. You go out there trying to knock him out, he's gonna destroy you. And most of those guys that go out with the idea, oh, he's small, he came up from cruiserweight, we're gonna take him out. Wrong answer, you're not gonna take him out. He fought Geisel, who was an even stronger puncher than most of these heavyweights are, and Geisel couldn't do nothing with him. You understand me? Geisel was one of the hardest punches I've seen in quite some time, and Geisel didn't give him no real opposition, basically, you know? So for these guys to think a one-punch guy's gonna beat Usyk, that's not gonna happen.
Roy, what was your thoughts on Daniel Dubois and the way the fight ended? Do you believe that he could have got up? Do you think he quit?
Well, come on, Spencer, you know, I mean, I thought he could have got the first time with the jab. That's why I keep telling you. And he knows, and Usyk knows that he probably could have got up off of that jab, but he didn't. So you think Usyk gonna let him get up off of an overhand left? You think we really believe he gonna really get up and try off of an overhand left? No, we don't. He didn't get up off of a jab. Why would you get up off of an overhand left? Yeah, could he have gotten up? Probably, but he's shown that's not the person he is, you know?
And talking of Usyk, Roy, where do you rank him in that sort of all-time? Everyone's been doing it all week, haven't they? It's the fun you have as a fight fan. Do you have an opinion on that?
No, I don't really have an opinion on that. He's definitely in the top 7 to top 5 now, because he's done something that nobody ever done. Not to mention, the quality of heavyweights is not the same as it once was. But, I mean, for him to do it the way he done it, undisputed cruiserweight champ, now undisputed heavyweight champ, that says a lot, man. Not many people done that. So for him to do that itself, has to put him in the top 5.
Yeah.
So those are the words of Roy Jones, and pretty much what he said is pretty much what I quoted that he said. But let's continue. It does make sense. I'm glad I did watch that clip, though. Shout out to Roy Jones Jr. Shout out to Talk Sports Boxing, because he was a guest on that show. And I think he described it a lot better. People say ripping or blasting or ridiculing. I mean, I just think that Daniel is showing you who he is. Daniel, it's almost like a person and how they work at a job, right? And how they work at a job is pretty much what they're going to do at that job. You know, you can't expect that particular worker to do what another one can do or will do. Some people will work over. Some people won't do that shit at all. Some people will do above and beyond. Some people will do the bare minimum. I think that's the best way to describe Danny Dubois. It's certain things that he's just not going to do. But I like the analogy. He's like, well, hey, if he went down from a jab, what do you think a overhand left is going to do to him? You think he's going to get up over overhand left, and that's only fair. That's not showing bias. That's not being disrespectful. It's just showing comparison to comparison from that 2023 fight to the 2025 fight. It's just showing you what he is and who he is, and he's showing you similarities of both fights, period. So, you know, all said and done about Danny Dubois has a limit. And I kept telling people of that limit, and that limit was still there. And a lot of people believed it wasn't. It's a line that he will not cross, or he will get to and not cross, right? He won't go past that limit. That level is his ceiling, okay? So that's his sky, that ceiling that he has, and he won't go past that. So that's just that. Now to call him a bum, to call him overrated, to call him a quitter, to call him a loser, to call him a disappointment, you know, I mean, I think that's a bit much, but I think disappointment is probably the fairest because you thought he had more. And that's what happens when you fight different fighters. That's why people, triangle theories don't work. That's why people, when you go and fight other fighters and you think that he's gone on to successfully beat them, Canelo Alvarez, you have this idea or you get in this mindset that he's changed or he's a better fighter or that loss made him better. And that's what people go to. It's clever when you're talking about overall accomplishments or whatnot, and you're trying to market somebody like they tried to market Danny Dubois. That's one thing. But to be real with you guys, like I told you, I needed to see how Daniel fought Alexander Usyk. I mentioned Canelo Alvarez. The reason I did that was because Canelo Alvarez was beating everybody at super middleweight. He beat everyone. He beat Billy Joe. He beat Callum Smith. He beat Callum Smith. He beat Caleb Plant. He beat Rocky Fielding. He beat Jaime Munguia. He beat Edgar Berlanga. You know, he beat a lot of those guys there, and that's what granted him the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. And I think he's the only one to do that or whatever, right? But here's the thing. I always question someone that goes on to fight other people that are successful. There is a reason that styles make fights. So if Canelo Alvarez loses to Terrence Crawford, it means he's not able to fight slick boxers, slick, pure, talented, special fighters. You know what I mean? He's going to always have issues with him. If that fight is hell of a competitive and Terrence Crawford ends up being the victor, even if Terrence Crawford fights him to 12 rounds, which that could be a possibility too. A lot of people don't think about it. I don't want this to be about Canelo and Terrence. I'm using this as an example. Terrence Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez, right, would not be as a surprising thing. Why? Because Danny Dubois would get beat by Alexander Usyk each and every time. It's almost like if Floyd was young enough and he came back to fight Canelo and still beat Canelo, would you be surprised? No, because that means people would praise Floyd for it. But why would you praise Floyd that much? Because he's already done that before. Why? Because people think that Canelo Alvarez has actually got better or improved, okay, because he's fought longer. Just like they seen Danny Dubois fight like he's fought and beat who he's beat, and they think, oh, he's gotten better as a fighter. No, he's just fought a different style of fighters that complements his style, that gels more with his style, that's right for his style. That's why. Okay? So, Danny Dubois fighting Usyk, he'll never beat Usyk because Usyk will always destroy him. Because Usyk will hit him with punches that he is incapable of defending because he will not see those shots. That's special versus good. So when you're special or you're a great fighter versus a good fighter, that great fighter will always prevail because that great fighter represents the dragon. That good fighter represents the tiger. Okay? A tiger is fierce and strong and powerful, but a dragon is fierce and strong and powerful, but he's also added wisdom. It's always something else that differentiates a dragon from a tiger. Okay? A dragon always has another choice. A tiger, never. But you guys tell me what you think of Roy Jones Jr. stating that Danny Dubois, that's not who he is as a fighter. He will not get up from punches that he doesn't see. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched.